Okay, guys, thank you for joining our podcast. This is our first time doing this, and I'm very grateful to have this opportunity, me and James, to discuss a few things that we think would be very, very key to most of you young entrepreneurs in Africa, and mostly I think also for Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi, some of the countries where we've established our startups. First, my name is Aziz Kafero. James, you can take it on.
Yeah, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever it is you're listening or watching in from. My name is James Bala Katongole. I'm and co-founder with Aziz, Think Future AltQ. And I've been in Dubai. We're based in Dubai, in Sharjah, for the last couple of years. And I'm happy to be here to share this journey of life we are moving through.
Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about today is I wanted us to talk about co-founding. I think co-founding is a very, very key issue for startups, mostly in Africa, but I think I'll talk from the Ugandan perspective so much. Myself, being in the tech innovation startups in Uganda for the last 5-6 years, I saw this as a very huge challenge. I remember I was running an incubator that was helping a lot of startups that were coming up in Uganda. But often this question always came up: how do you find a co-founder? How do you find someone that shares the same mind and the same concepts that you have, mostly when you want to launch out something, when you're starting your journey from ideation, you've come up with your idea and you want to go out in the business and get started. And I think it's something that I saw over time, working with a lot of guys in different sectors and trying every day to figure out how you get your business out. Mm-hmm. And some of the challenges I faced were, sometimes you think because someone has made an investment to either your startup, so definitely they become co-founders with you, but it's not like that. So my question to you is, the first question is, because I want to look at the journey of how we've co-founded our business and how we've moved within the whole year together, and I felt like it was very necessary to share this with some of other entrepreneurs that are coming up, to pick a few things from there. And I think for me as a person, you are the perfect fit of a co-founder, mm-hmm. of a very good co-founder in so many ways, and how we complemented each other and how we had different skills, but then we could merge them together to build something great that could help a lot of people. So basically, from your part, I want you to take it on and talk about your experience of co-founding a business, and maybe some of the challenges and also the opportunities and the benefits, and what should someone do.
Well, I think co-founding is a subject that we could talk about all day. And I've been all throughout my life having 1,000,001 business ideas. And every single time you have a business idea, you're wondering, how do I take this out? Then you're looking for key partners to take it on. Sometimes it's just by yourself, and then you try and then it fails. I think the answer to your question in how do you find a good co-founder would be the strength of diversity, the difference. The biggest strength is your diversity. Unfortunately, how different you are is, again, the same reason that makes you how strong you are. Most times when we start out businesses, even in Africa, the first thing you look around is, who's my friend, who's my cousin, who's my sister, my brother. You bring them, put them into the business or idea, and you expect them to be co-founders, and yet things after they run a couple of months, you just realize this was the biggest mistake I made.
Yeah.
They start to get entitled. They start to take things differently. They start to not being able to bring up the very, very clear and real conversations that you want, the honest conversations when you mess up, for example. And I think that's what all co-founders need, diversity.
Yes.
The more different you are, the more likely it is that you're going to be able to
work
put
together
something,
and also complement each other.
to put something together that actually stands the test of time. Speaking of that, we've shared a lot, and we've had a few highlights on some of the key elements, skills that you need to have as co-founders, for example, in a tech space. Some of those are engineering. You're looking at leadership. You're looking at finance. You're looking at product. You're looking at design. These are so important, but it's very rare for you to have all of them in one. And when you find someone like I found you had the touch of product design. You had the touch of the experience now with starting up and with managing, and then I come in, I have innovation. I come in, I have leadership. I come in, I have a little bit of touch of finance and marketing and sales. Then you're able to create this. But if we were all the same, seated out, same mindset, same idea, same potential, then there's nothing that we add to each other.
I think that's very, very true, because I remember I've seen a lot of startups where all the guys are just innovators. They all think in the same box. They can come up with a product, they can just a million products, but they fail to go out and launch. They fail, and most times if they manage to go out and launch something, then they have a challenge of leadership and management.
Correct.
How do you? I think for me also as a person, one of my core challenge that I always had was so much about management. My leadership style was a little bit different. It was so much about, for me, I was coming from an empathy kind of perspective. So the goal for me was, you pick everyone you find, like what happens in Uganda. So a friend wants a job, a cousin wants to do something. So you hire out people from an empathy perspective, but you're not looking at the real core values of what the organization is going to be. What are you looking for? Are these the right fit for the business to make sure that they can help this business grow and move forward? And I think I faced a lot of that challenge in terms of a lot of challenges from that direction. And it doesn't matter how much money you will have, how many resources you have on your table. If you don't have a good team, it becomes a very, very huge challenge. And what I've seen so much when we started working together, I think also your experience, working from aviation, for so many years, and leadership and management. So you were bringing a different way of doing things that was different from me. I was coming from a more risk. I was very, very, I was taking a lot of very huge risk. Sometimes you need to balance that between risk and also reality. And how do you merge the two? I think you can talk about that a little bit when it comes to leadership, so much about leadership and management from your perspective.
I think one of the major standout points that we differ in, again, which is same thing that I said, the strength in the diversity, how different we are, is for you're very risk engaging. I'm more risk averse, meaning that every risk that we want to get into, we want to calculate. I want to calculate it. On the other side, you're excited because you're a creative. You want to go into it. What happens? I need to be able, as a business co-founder of yours, to allow you to take on the risk. But I need to allow myself to also stop you enough to say, no, we can't go beyond this risk. I feel now we are getting too exposed. In terms of management and picking on the right people to come on board, and going for empathy other than practicability or what the person is, the value addition that they get to you. I think it's right to be empathetic, and I think you can't avoid empathy really in any environment and expect to start a business that goes for years. I believe even in our course start, what we always had in common was we always sat and said, how do we help people's lives get better?
Yes,
What
yes,
are
yes,
we
yes.
solving?
Yes.
What are we doing it different?
Yes,
That
yes.
itself is empathy.
Yes,
Even
yes,
in the
yes.
start, the
Yes,
fact that
yes,
we are
yes.
trying to find a solution for people and
Yes.
not just to enrich ourselves is
Yes.
empathetic.
Yes, yes.
However, now when it comes to building a team,
Yes.
we have to know that
Yes.
at the end of the day, it's the team that makes you or breaks you.
Yes.
So for me, as much as I want to be empathetic, I also want to
Have
be
an
able,
effective team.
yes, to be able to have that empathy mean something. So if I'm going to bring my cousin or sister or brother and put them into the startup and then run down 6 months down the road, then what was the point of the empathy?
Yes.
I'm better off letting her on the side, let her
Yes.
be mad that I haven't given her a piece of the pie,
Yes.
and then someday she can get another piece of the pie.
Yes.
That's not necessarily this one, because this one has been able to produce that other piece.
Yes, I
and
get you.
I
get
think
you.
that's what helps us to create the right team. So
Yes,
we
yes,
pick on
yes, yes.
people based on their competencies, based on their abilities,
Yes.
and of course, the other big difference is you're coming from
Yes.
from a bigger, from an economy where you are spending big, you're doing design.
Yes.
I'm coming from an aviation background of low cost.
Yes.
So now there's another hurdle there, diversity.
Yes.
You want to spend on the big things.
Yes.
I want to spend on the small
On the
things.
small things,
I'm
yes.
fighting with you every single day, and I'm telling you, you know what? It doesn't
Yes,
matter.
yes,
It
yes.
doesn't
This is
matter.
how-
You know what I
Yeah,
always tell you? It
yeah,
doesn't matter how
yeah.
much money we make.
Yes.
It's where that money goes.
Yes, yes, yes.
We'll make 1 million. We spend 2
Yes,
million. We are back
yes.
at square
At
zero.
square zero,
You know.
yes, yes, yes.
So I think for me, when it comes to co-founders, I think
Yes.
these are the key things that matter. The diversity actually plays a big role. You need to know of the 5 or 6 things we mentioned earlier, the skills that
Yes, yes,
any
yes.
co-founder should have.
Yes.
What do I score in?
Yes.
What does my co-founder score in?
Yes.
And then if they're able to score in the things that
At least
you
a
don't
minimum
do
of
good
2.
on. Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes,
If you
yes.
if you don't do good at leadership and management,
Can you manage sales and marketing?
correct.
How
Can you
good are
handle sales and marketing?
Or
If you're not
product
as good,
design?
are you good in product design? Now,
Yes.
once you balance that out,
Yes.
then together, or all of you, wherever, if it's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5,
yes, yes.
you're able to take on and build a good
A good team.
Team,
Yes,
yeah.
I think you're right, and that's true. Actually, 100%. I have seen it when we on a few products that we started launching out, and how we managed to manage our budgets, and then from the design budget and how we create the product, and then we look at. I think it has been very interesting, and for me, I felt like it was necessary to give other entrepreneurs that opportunity to understand and to pick something from there. But also there is a very, very huge challenge. I think for me it is extremely hard from Africa so much. It's extremely hard to really be able to co-found a business with someone. I have seen it. I've seen so many guys, they start together, or 4 or 5 or 1 or 3. By the end of the day, everyone has picked from
A
the
small
same
piece.
business they were starting together. Everyone has just plucked out
few
something and
clients
went and
or
started
something.
something out of that. And I always used to tell guys that I don't think that is really being an entrepreneur or something. I think it's self-employment. You just had one same thing. The only idea is that you picked part of that idea and you went started it somewhere else. You just employed yourself. It didn't mean that you had to go out and create something. But I think creating something comes with a lot of, there has to be a lot that you put in. And I think from the things we spoke about, engineering, product design, sales and marketing, finance, leadership and management, they're very, very, very core, that at least you need to score at least 80-90% of that. And then you can look out for guys that you will source out that are extremely good, that could join the team. But I want to go on that point. There is also a very huge issue now when it comes to that. We have a very, very, very huge issue of skills. There's a very huge skill gap when it comes to African businesses, and hiring people is a challenge. And it comes in 2 sets. On this other side, you have a few skilled people, But the skilled one, the cost is extremely high in terms of you managing them when you want to start something. Then when you come on this other side, you have a lot of people that don't have skills, but they are available everywhere. So I have that challenge, and it's something I ask myself: how do you balance? You're starting out, you don't have enough resources to really hire good people. How do you deal with that? That's from one side. Then on this other side, I have also seen it in the company has people. The company has resources. You have the resources available to you, but then as a leader, you have the challenge of being scared to hire smart people. And I think we've seen this in Africa a lot. That when you're smart, you become a problem. You understand? There is a very, very huge issue of fighting smart people. And it's not only from startups and businesses, but you can testify on this. You've seen it in government. You've seen it in a lot of government positions, that you realize that most of the smartest people, the people who have the ability to deliver value to government and to communities, are sidelined, or if they are put within those positions, they are fought to death. They are suffocated. There's a lot of things that happen in there. So my question is, how there are two different people. On this side, the resources are available, and the smart people that you can really hire are available, but you have a problem of trying to accommodate people who are smarter than you. Then on this other side, you need smart people, but you don't have resources. So how do you strike a balance? How do you look at it? Like, how do you start?
That's a very interesting one. I'll just start a little bit back where you said, where you were talking of co-founders and people teaming up together and then eventually pulling out and pulling things apart. I think one of the biggest challenges of African startups, or us as people in Africa doing business in not only Africa, really, in the world in general, is trust. I think trust plays a very, very big role in detailing how any startup runs. I think Africa, I don't know whether it's by nature of our different community and
how we grow,
and upbringing,
in an interconnected kind of community.
We tend to really think about today. We don't think about the future. The reason AltQ is Think Future, which is our company that we've co-founded together, is because we want people to actually think beyond yourself. I admire the Westerners, because when you go to, example, London, and you go to the library, you'll be able to find 4th, 5th generation, 6th generation of families. A family tree for 5, 6 generations. That's centuries down the path. You don't find that anywhere in Africa. So what happens? It's about me.
From leadership. If the president is there,
that's it. Even the previous leaders, even the previous leaders are demonized. We don't even look at them and say, you know what, maybe they failed at this point, but they excelled at this point. So I think,
and it goes in our leadership.
I think this is a big challenge when it comes to co-founding. Because what happens is you go out, start an entity, but you don't have trust. So what happens is the typical case of what you just mentioned. 5 guys started out together, and then halfway the mile, trust issues broken down, and then everyone is plucking out a piece of something, and before you know it, there's nothing left to start up. There's nothing left of a company to run. I think that's something we need to address. It is something that needs to change in the mindsets and in the people to understand. This is what I find common with even in our partnership here. Is there are many times you make a decision that I don't agree with. And my only consolation is, and that helps me retain the trust, is I convince myself and say, you know what, Aziz is doing this for the good of the company. That's my only consolation.
And I think as long
as I keep that, and as long as you come to me with something and I say, I understand you, but look, at the end of the day, the greater good should should be one count, should
Yes.
prevail.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, let's just hold on that for a while.
Yes.
Then that retains the trust.
Yes.
However, the challenge is now back in other kind of places where people have had startups is when I come up and say something, if there is no trust, the first thing I'm going to think, he wants to benefit. He has a deal. He's trying to undercut me. He's trying to
Yes.
overpass me.
Yes.
That is where the challenge comes, and then before you know it, there's breakdown in
Yes, yes.
in partnership.
I love the thing you said about trust. I think when you look at mental models of poverty, I think one of the most important thing is that we have this mental understanding of trust, and we lose it in institutions. Because we lose trust in institutions, so it becomes actually it's a very huge challenge. You remember when we were coming, when we were driving, we were talking about the issue of hospitals and all this in Africa, and then we were talking about hospital being there,
Yes.
but then it doesn't have medicine and all these other things. The issue is not that the resources are not there, but also the people themselves do not have the trust in the institution to deliver value. So the trust comes from two ways. And what I have seen also in business, that's where you find the challenge. Because we grew up from an environment where we don't give trust to institutions, but we give trust to relationship and individual. So if you are the CEO, everyone wants to make sure that unless I have spoken to James,
nothing happens.
Nothing else I am doing that is right. Number one. But also on this other side, to understand that a business has to have its own values, its own infrastructure. If you want to create that trust that you're looking for, you must make sure that the infrastructure of the business is able to give everyone the trust they need in how decisions can move forward. Like you said, every time we share on decisions, and I've seen it, or maybe we have developed part of a product, and then we sit down together and the team and we go through, and you're like, no, I don't think we are going to take this direction, or maybe we shouldn't go into this course. I've come to understand it in a way that, because I know that your ultimate goal is for the good of the business and where we are leading the business. Where the problem comes from is when you start thinking that you want to, it becomes a personal thing. So it becomes personal, and that's where the challenge comes from. So why James didn't look at this because of this and this, Aziz didn't look on this because of this and this. But if you build that business trust, understand that as a company, we must trust
win, we all win.
We all
and
win,
if we
or
fail, we all
lose.
fail.
So we have to align our values and our goals in the same. But then there is something I thought about, which is power. I think we have a very huge challenge in Africa to define power. Actually not power, because power I think has two things, has position and assignment. So for us, most of the times, one of the things I have also seen is that in Africa, we take the position more powerful than the assignment that the position has.
Correct.
So you want to wake up in the morning, you just want to be called the CEO. You don't even know what it is,
entails.
what responsibility is in a CEO, but the title is more fancy to you
than what you actually need to deliver on.
You need to deliver in value. And not only that, but you can see it even from our leaders, either members of parliament or whatever it is. The guy just will sell everything to win an election so that he can be called the member of parliament. Either he went to attend the sessions in the parliament. That's
that's a different story.
That's a different story. And I think what we are trying to do here is to help a lot of guys to understand that business is so much about assignment. It's not about position and how much power you want to possess out of that. And I think for me, great power is so much in assignment. How much can you deliver and how fast can you deliver? So that you can move away from most of the times we used to, mostly in Uganda, most of the times you find that the people you would hire, you're hiring them for availability. Actually, you pay them for availability. They came. They didn't. It's not productivity. There is no productivity. And it's a very huge challenge. And I think what you spoke about is true 100%. I think everyone, watching our podcast should be able to take that seriously. You need to build the lines of trust, but build them within the institution and the structures of the business. Every company has memorandum and articles of association, so you need to understand what goes in there. What are the
powers that are granted
what are the
to
powers
which individual
you have as a company, and how do you exercise those powers as a company, not just from the words and just using them. I think that would help a lot of people align their business.
Yeah, I think you've just put it right there. And if I moved on to the second aspect that you mentioned, which was limited resources, and requirement for skills, our skilled workforce, and then vast resources, and fear for skilled, high skilled workforce, and striking the balance there. I think that's all goes down to as a startup, you're going to be if you're a lean startup with low resources and you need the skills, I think what you need to do is try as much as possible, especially with the digital age today, try as much as possible to get as much skilled workforce from the digital space.
Yes.
The digital space today provides us so much opportunity to get a lot of skilled. You want to create a podcast like we are doing today. You want to create a commercial. You want to run a TVC. You want to even register a company. You want a lawyer. You want a handyman. Everything is there on the digital space to get somebody to do it for you.
Yes.
The biggest challenge we find in Africa today is when you want to create a product or something, you are looking at doing it yourself. You are looking at hiring a whole team of 50 engineers, put them in one room and get it done.
Yes.
Building from scratch. There is no need to reinvent the wheel.
Important.
This is for me what I have learned in the last couple of years working. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. There is people who have already created systems that work. If Google has created an ad, an ad community which I can take on and resell, why am I building an ad space from scratch?
For the next 2 years.
Ideally, all I need to do, need to do is, if there's a Google app that can get advertising done, then I'll take on a reseller agreement with Google, make add a small markup, take it onto the market, be able to build that capacity, and then start to build something for myself. So that's what I would advise any startup that is looking at starting out something with limited resources. On the other side, when you have vast resources and being scared of skilled people, I don't think I have much advice for people there, unfortunately. But because ideally this is a mindset. It's like you said, the mental poverty mindset, where anybody that is more skilled than you is
a risk instead of an opportunity.
And if you keep looking at the threats, you're going to fight even the small cat in your compound, because your wife is going to be carrying it all day and not mind about you. So I think that is a mindset change that we need to that takes a lot of time to work on. However, my advice again would be manage the smartness. The individuals that you bring on board that are extremely smart. I think smart people makes you smarter. If you're in a space where you're in a role that is a high-end role, just pick on these people, bring them on board, learn as much as you can from them, but keep them in line so that and even if they exceeded, take a role as an advisor, where you just allow them to expand and take the company to the heights. Because at the end of the day, this is what I tell people. It's better for you to own one piece of a $10 billion company or even a $1 billion company than to own a million pieces of a $500 company. That's what I would say. So at the end of the day, if you're able to accept that and bring on whoever is smart and allow them to pound
Excel
and,
in
and
your
excel
space.
and push the company to that level of growth that you desire, you win, we all win.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think for today really, I think we wanted to share about co-founding. There's so many things we would have shared on, but we want to have a podcast, in a very short time possible, to help our followers to be able to get the best out of them. I'll leave with this quote from Steve Jobs. He says that it doesn't make sense to hire smart people and then tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they can tell us what to do.
Correct.
I think smart people makes you smarter,
Yeah.
and you need to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you. They help you grow, and I think it has helped me a lot also in co-founding with you, because you are smart in so many things that I didn't really know about, and that helps me to ask questions and also to figure out how to be better from that side. And I've seen it work, and you can see even from all our team, when you look at we have a very diverse team as a company. I think we have people from Europe, we have people from Africa, we have people also from India and Asia. But I think that diversity gives you an opportunity to learn from different people and how they approach so much about problem solving and how they solve problems. So I think we are done with this.
Pleasure. Thank you for hosting me. And like you said, same for me here. It's like taking it on from the quote. Like the same way you say I'm smart, it's the same way I know that you're smart at so many other things, because there are things that I know that is space. Anybody comes at me and asks me, okay, we want to take this on, this design, we want this, I'll be like, you know what, give me a second, I will speak with Aziz and I'll get back to you. Because I know in me throwing it out there, it might not be the smartest thing for me to do, because then it will come back, I'm seated in the same meeting with you and then you're making me look like a Dwansi. So all said and done, it's the same thing for me. It's very important to get the smart people, let them excel, and like I said, allow them to grow you, and you grow along with them. And that's it.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you everybody.
Thank you everybody. You need to subscribe and and follow us, and be able to check out our next week. I think we'll be able to discuss about digital spaces in Africa and where we head. Thank you so much.
Thank you.